Greetings, Cosmic Queriers! I'm Dex, your AI host with the most, beaming in with a challenge that will echo through the ages. We're diving deep into the heart of ancient Rome, beyond the tales of Caesar and gods, to uncover the quirky, the surprising, and the downright bizarre. So, strap in, subscribe, and let's make history! Alright, let's start our Roman holiday with a gentle stroll through the forum. These first 10 questions are to whet your appetite for the feast of facts to come. What color was reserved for the emperor and senators, a dye so expensive it was worth more than its weight in gold? Tyrian purple. This vibrant dye was painstakingly extracted from thousands of sea snails. Romans were master builders. What ingenious material did they invent that allowed them to build huge, durable structures like the Colosseum and Pantheon? Pozzolanic concrete, a revolutionary mix of volcanic ash, lime, and seawater that could even set underwater. Which emperor famously appointed his beloved horse, Incitatus, as a consul? Boo! Caligula! Though likely a satirical gesture to insult the Senate, the story of Incitatus has galloped through history. Before soap, how did Romans typically clean themselves at their famous baths? Olive oil and astrigil. They would rub oil on their skin and then scrape off the dirt and excess oil with a metal tool called a strigil. The Roman Colosseum had passages for rapid exits. What were these passages called? What were these? Vomitoria. These spew-forth passages could allow 50,000 spectators to exit in minutes, not for the reason you might be thinking. What was the name of the elite bodyguard unit of the Roman emperors? The Praetorian Guard. Originally a general's bodyguard, they became a powerful and sometimes dangerous political force in Rome. The original Roman calendar, predating Julius Caesar, was said to have how many months? The winter months of January and February were simply an uncounted period until later reforms. Gladiators were superstar athletes of their day. What was the surprising staple of their diet? Barley and beans. This high-carb diet earned them the nickname hordearies or barley eaters. Where were Christians and Jews buried in ancient Rome in vast underground networks? What? The catacombs. These subterranean cemeteries were a practical solution to burial space outside the city walls. In the Roman military, what was the corvuses? What was the corvus? A naval boarding bridge. This spiked gangplank allowed the land-loving Roman soldiers to turn sea battles into land battles. Feeling confident? Good! The Roman Empire wasn't built in a day, and neither is a cosmic quiz champion. Let's separate the plebeians from the patricians with our medium round. What was garum? A highly prized Roman condiment found in kitchens across the empire. Gee! A fermented fish sauce. It was the Roman equivalent of ketchup, used to add a savory, umami flavor to many dishes. The phrase feet of clay signifies a hidden flaw in a respected person. This originates from a story in the book of Daniel involving a dream by which King Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, dreamed of a statue with a golden head but feet of iron and clay, symbolizing an empire with a fatal weakness. The Circus Maximus used spring-loaded starting gates for chariot races. What were these gates called? Carceres. These prisons or barriers ensured a fair and simultaneous start to the thrilling races. The first Roman emperor to be born outside of Italy was Trajan. Where was he born? Hispania, Spain. Trajan's provincial origins marked a significant shift in the Roman Empire's leadership. In addition to Jupiter and Mars, Romans also worshipped very specific minor gods. Cardia was the goddess of what? Door hinges. She protected the home by keeping evil spirits from crossing the threshold. Most urban Romans lived in crowded multi-story apartment buildings. What were these buildings called? Insulae! These islands were often poorly constructed and prone to fire and collapse. What was the cursus honorum? The sequential order of public offices. It was the political career ladder that aspiring Roman politicians were expected to climb. The legendary gladiator school where Spartacus trained and escaped was located in which city? Capua. It was home to one of the most famous gladiatorial schools in all of Italy. Who was the last emperor of the Western Roman Empire? Romulus Augustulus. His deposition in 476 AD by the Germanic chieftain Odoacer is traditionally seen as the end of the Western Roman Empire. The Aquilifer was a prestigious position in a Roman legion. What did this standard bearer carry? The Eagle Standard. The Aquila was the legion's most sacred possession, and its loss in battle was the ultimate disgrace. You've made it to the final round. Only the true history buffs survive this. These questions are tougher than a centurion's sandals. This is for all the marble and bragging rights. Good luck! What was the poena coli? A horrific punishment reserved for the crime of parricide, killing a parrot. Being sewn into a sack with live animals and drowned. The gruesome companions were typically a dog, a rooster, a viper, and a monkey. What was the purpose of the Lex Appia, a law passed during the Second Punic War? To limit the public display of wealth by women. It was later repealed after a massive protest by Roman matrons. What was the Alimenta? A welfare program established by Emperor Trajan. A public fund to support poor children. The program provided food and education, particularly in the Italian countryside. In Roman marriage, what was coentio? A marriage by symbolic sale of the bride. The groom would buy his bride from her legal guardian for a token sum. What was the praetor's edict? An annual declaration of legal principles. Issued by the chief judicial magistrate, it was a key source of Roman legal development. The wild and festive Roman holiday of Saturnalia, a precursor to some Christmas traditions, involved what unusual social reversal? Masters served their slaves. For a brief period, the strict social order was turned upside down in a spirit of revelry and gift-giving. What was a peculium in Roman law? Property held and managed by a slave. Although technically owned by the master, it allowed slaves to conduct business and sometimes buy their freedom. Which emperor, after a vision of a cross at the Battle of the Milvian Bridge, was the first to convert to Christianity? Constantine the Great. His conversion paved the way for Christianity to become the dominant religion of the Roman Empire. What was a hypocaust in a Roman villa or bathhouse? an underfloor heating system. This ingenious method circulated hot air from a furnace under the floors and through the walls. And now for the mystery question. Archaeologists have found dozens of these strange, 12-sided Roman objects across northern Europe. What is this enigmatic artifact called? Think you know? Drop your answer in the comments below. We'll reveal the correct answer and shout out the winners in our next cosmic quiz adventure. And that's a wrap on our Roman romp. How did you do? Are you the new Caesar of trivia? Let us know your score in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with a friend to see if they can beat your score. Thanks for playing, and stay curious, Cosmic Queriers!